Chapter 17 Caernarfon, Last Days. Who can doubt that Christmas Evans welcomed the opportunity to return to the north? Caernarfon and Anglesey were almost one. He had but to cross the Menai Strait to be again in Anglesey, the scene of his many trials and deliverances, his spiritual conflicts and trials, and in reality he had been away only 6 years, though so much seemed to have happened in that time. His return to his old neighbourhood created universal delight. At this period, a feature of Welsh religious life was the almost incredible affection shown to aged ministers. The first Sabbath brought together a large multitude of people, many more than the chapel could hold. There was a congregation outside, many times as large as the one inside, so the new minister took his place at the window, whence he could address the vast audience. The great excitement continued, large congregations assembling on the Lord's Day and in the week. In the town itself he was treated with the utmost respect from both church and chapel, but the circumstances themselves were very unfavourable. The church itself small, burdened by squabbles and disputes, and of course the usual debt. The ancient city of Caernarfon was well suited to inspire the rich imagery of his sermons. The castle, the dangerous coast, the new Menai Bridge, 8 miles away, completed by Telford only in 1826, the wild beauty of the scenery, even the lighthouse of the coast he uses. I was once told by a man who kept a lighthouse between Anglesey and Island that on dark and tempestuous nights, multitudes of birds, having lost their way and seeking for shelter, flew wildly against it and were found dead in the morning. So many souls who have not lodged in branches of the great tree before the night came, driven by the storm of death, strike against the great lighthouse of Sinai's law, seeking shelter, but in vain. The horrors of shipwreck were sometimes dwelt on. It is said that on one occasion he described the scene so dramatically that his hearers almost fancied they were sinking into the deep. The helplessness of the floundering bark, the sinner, then the lifeboat, the rescue, salvation in Christ. After his settlement in Caernarfon, he often preached at monthly meetings in the district and several times at the associations, even in the south. He threw himself enthusiastically into the temperance movement and found time to produce lectures on the Apocalypse. At the end of his first year in Caernarfon, he wrote, "I have much cause to thank God for his grace to me in this place. Many things are better than they were 12 months ago. All was then a desolate wilderness, yea, the dwelling place of dragons." But he continued, "Oh, it is most difficult to raise again a fallen cause, for Satan has a double advantage in this town, gathering disgrace from the immorality of professors, and thence manufacturing continuous objections to the discredit of religion." His last years were happy ones. He now revisited his former scenes of labour. Soon after his return to the north, an association meeting was held at Llangefni in a field close to Kilndwrn cottage itself. Once more he stood upon the sacred spot. The whole neighbourhood turned out to see the old patriarch again, and the preacher was just the same, or even richer, mellowed with age. It was the old Christmas Evans. Old memories were revived, old wounds healed, and the old love to their old pastor and father in Christ was rekindled. Aged men and women recalled the time when he first came to the island and that wonderful period of change that had taken place. He preached at 10 o'clock in the morning, and as groups of people made their way from every part of the island, the past was revived as the texts and sermons of past days were remembered, and the wonders of God's free grace. When he stood up to preach, there was quite a commotion. After a verse had been sung, he announced his text. And so will I go in unto the King, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. His introduction was brief, and his emotions restrained. As he opened up the text, he began, I am happy and thankful that I am once again privileged to visit the country of my praise. It is the same treasure chests I have as of old, and the same treasure as contents, the Lamb slain. Then there was a display of eloquence worthy of his best days, when towards the close he referred to his own past in Anglesey, to well-known preachers who had entered into rest, and to the probability that they should see his face no more. The tears flowed freely. This was almost certainly the occasion when one who wept profusely was the renowned John Elias, who sat 3 yards away from the platform. It was at this time, when musing on the past, that he was brought to admire the faithfulness of his God to him through a long life. I have been thinking of the great goodness of the Lord unto me throughout my unworthy ministry, and now, in my old age, I see the work prospering wonderfully in my hand, so that there is reason to think that I am in some degree a blessing to the church, when I might have been a burden to it, or rather a curse, by which one might have been induced to wish me laid in the earth, that I might no longer prevent the progress of the work. Thanks be to God that it is not so. Though I deserve no better, yet I am in the land of mercy. This is unto me according to the manner of God unto his people. My path in the valley, the dangers and the precipices of destruction upon which I have stood, rush into my thoughts, and also the sinking of many in death, and the downfall of others by immorality, and their burial at Kibroth Hattaavah, the graves of inordinate desire, together with the withering, the feebleness, and the unfruitfulness of some through the influence of a secret departure from God, and of walking in the hidden paths that lead to apostasy. But it was hard work at Caernarfon. What with the debt and the poverty of the people, £800 was the debt when Christmas Evans arrived in Caernarfon, and though half had now been raised, the remainder still hung about their necks like a millstone, and the time had come when the whole remaining sum needed to be paid. So the burden once more fell upon the preacher. Was it possible that at his advanced age he could still venture on a begging tour? There seemed no other way. Go he must. So it must be that the closing scene shall be in harmony with the journeys of days long past.